been told Nigel Farage would be visiting Hamilton Town Centre today, but after addressing a few activists at Reform headquarters, he simply left out the back door, leaving behind scenes like this.
The reason why Nigel hasn't shown is because the anti-racists are out in full force today. And we are going to give a clear message to Nigel Farage that his racist scapegoating politics are not welcome in Scotland.
If he is sowing division, it's division that's needed, because we are certainly not getting any service from any government.
Earlier, for select media only, Reform stage managed a walk around nearby Larkhall, the sort of small working class town they think they can make big gains in.
If you get a chance to come for a pint, come for a pint.
Yeah, well, if I get a chance, I will.
You could say right now, the party in Scotland is a movement. It's a teenager, hasn't quite yet reached maturity. Maybe the result on Thursday will be the thing that actually gets us to full adulthood.
Reform has forked out money for billboards and social media adverts. One sparked a racism row because it placed an image of Scottish Labour leader Anna Sarwar next to a claim he will prioritise the Pakistani community, words he did not say. This morning, Nigel Farage didn't apologise and doubled down.
We believe what he said was a form of sectarian politics, and we don't like it one little bit.
Nigel Farage is a poisonous, toxic little man who wants to bring his own poison into our politics in order to divide our communities and play on people's fear and a sense of hopelessness. That's why Scotland will utterly reject him. The best way of addressing the underlying politics, though, is improving people's lives, and that's what I'm in politics for. I want to improve people's lives, and the best way of me getting the chance to improve people's lives is if we remove the SNP from office and we elect a Scottish Labour government.
How are we going to get out of this mess?
This is exactly the kind of seat Labour needs to win if it is to stand a chance of winning power in the Scottish Parliament elections next year. Some of Keir Starmer's policies at Westminster, such as winter fuel cuts, have not been making things easy. If you are routed by Reform here, will there be a reckoning for Keir Starmer from his Scottish politicians?
Well, this seat's a straight choice between the SNP and Labour. Reform
if
can't
Reform
win here.
beat you, they might not win, but if they beat you, if they come second, is there going to be a reckoning with Keir Starmer?
Well, look, a UK Labour government is getting on with fixing the mess left by 14 years of the Tories, but that's not a reason to let the SNP in through the back door.
Of course, Scotland has two governments, and the SNP needs a win here to show they are secure after suffering so many losses to Labour in the general election.
Vote SNP to stop Farage and for a better future for our country. Thank you very much.
Which Scottish party benefits most from talking up the rise of an English phenomenon like Reform?
Listen, I'm aware of the threat here.
It's your party.
On
the
doorsteps, I can see that Farage is a rising threat in Scotland,
so
and I want to stand against it.
He's the best bogeyman you've had since Boris Johnson.
Well, I just want to make sure that we don't allow his politics into Scotland, because they represent, as we've seen in the last couple of weeks, racism. We've seen the damage of Brexit. We would see from him the privatisation of the NHS. That's not Scotland. That's not what Scotland wants.
Isn't it an easier message for you to say, vote for me because I'm not Nigel, than vote for me because you actually like the SNP's record in government?
This is a real rise. A lot of it is fuelled by disappointment in the Labour government and frustration.
And disappointment in your government?
Well, there may be elements of that, but then I'm out there trying to win these people back.
Have you thought about whether you might vote this time around and how you might vote?
Many defections to Reform in Scotland have come at the expense of the Scottish Conservatives, who also court unionist voters.
This is Russell. Hello there.
Hi, Russell.
Nice to meet you.
Hi,
How you doing?
nice to meet you.
Hi.
He's the leader.
You've seen the first one.
Once considered a cuddlier version of the party in England, their new leader, Russell Finlay, has faced claims he's pushing them in a more populist direction.
I don't want to be anything like Nigel Farage. Nigel Farage doesn't even believe in the union, and I am perfectly cuddly. You know, I'm a pragmatist, I'm an optimist. I believe with great conviction in our politics and what we stand for, our values of integrity, decency, opportunity and fairness.
Down the local pub in Hamilton, drinkers seem disillusioned.
They promise and promise and promise and promise, and they never deliver.
One man told us he was a former SNP voter who'd been put off picking Labour.
Your Scottish Labour leader who is saying, I'll put the Pakistani community first. Sorry, but we live in Scotland, you know, so it shouldn't be the Pakistani communities.
OK, that's an advert that Reform put out in this election.
Is that not true then? No.
They put the word prioritise in. He didn't say prioritise.
I thought that was the fact.
Right, and have you voted yet?
I have, a postal voted.
And who have you voted for?
I voted Reform.
There's a lot riding on this by-election for all the parties in this area.
I feel like across Scotland and the UK, Reform seem to be taking votes off of Labour and the Conservatives. Maybe in Scotland they'll take off of the SNP as well, I don't know.
If they do well, it wouldn't be a surprise, to be honest, but I wouldn't freak out, no.
With no official polling available for this specific seat, it's impossible to predict if a Reform bounce is really coming north.
And this is the full list of candidates who are standing in the Hamilton, Larkhall and Stonehouse by-election this Thursday for a seat in the Scottish Parliament.